All right, so we are officially live. Let me see this. Hold on. Connecting. Where's this going? Okay, let's see. Alexis, yeah, you're live. Okay, it's saying I'm live, so all right, my YouTube fam, we're gonna allow some more people to come in, but I'm super excited. We've been talking about having an homeowners insurance agent on our live so that you can answer, so we can ask questions and you can have more an understanding of how homeowners insurance works here in Florida. So this is Lena Mayo. She is the owner of her company, which is the Insurance Hut, right?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Perfect. And so before Florida, before writing in policies in Florida, she was in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of people here that interact with us, they're from up north.
Oh,
So
okay.
because I was born and raised in New York. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, so but where are you originally from?
Sweden.
Wow. Did
Mm.
you live there?
Yes, I grew up there. And then I moved here to go to college and I loved it. So I decided to stay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then you have three kids, right?
Yep. A 13-year-old, 12-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
Wow. And her son plays soccer and he travels for it. I think that is so cool.
Yeah, thank
To be
you.
a to be a sports parent is like I feel like it's a whole nother thing.
Oh, that's another, like a side job in itself. Yeah.
Yep, to make sure that they're at their practices, at their games,
Hmm.
and all of this other stuff. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I had a
Yes.
glimpse of it this year with my oldest son, and
Uh-huh.
he was playing football for the first
Oh,
time. And my poor baby, they didn't play him though all year, all season, because he didn't
that's
know.
so hard too.
That's very hard, right? And it's so, but it's good that it happened to him, right? Because if you want something very, very bad and you're not where you want to be, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Or you're not where they expect you to be, then you just have to
Hmm.
work harder, right? So you
Yes.
have the decision of you're gonna quit and feel like a failure, right? Or you're
Yeah.
gonna work hard if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
So hi, Theo. Okay, so let's talk about homeowners insurance here in Florida. So, first question is, what does the standard homeowners insurance cover?
So with homeowners insurance, for it to be called a homeowners insurance, it has to cover certain things, right? And so it would be the dwelling, other structures, which would be a shed, detached garage, a structure that's not attached to the home,
Hmm.
personal property. I usually say take the house and turn it upside down and shake it. Anything that can fall out is personal property. So your furniture,
I like
your
that.
clothes, yes. Let's say you have a microwave and it's built in, then it's part of the structure because it won't fall out. But if it sits on the counter, it's personal property because it can fall out. You have loss of use. So if you have a claim and you can't stay in your home, you have coverage to stay in a rental or a hotel. Medical payments, which would be if you have friends over, someone is injured and have to seek medical attention, you have coverage for that. Usually up to 1,000, between 1,000 and 5,000. And then you have liability. That would be, for example, up in New York or New Jersey, someone walks down this sidewalk and they slip and fall outside your house because it's a little spot of ice. They can sue you. So that would cover you in case of a lawsuit.
Mm,
Or if you have a dog and bites someone, goes under liability. But the most important things, the easiest way to think about what's covered on a homeowner's policy is what caused the damage. So if you call the claims department or any person that works in the claims department, they will ask, or that's how they think it. Or if you ask them, is this covered? They're not going to say yes or no. They're going to say, was it due to wind, fire, water, and so forth. So homeowners insurance doesn't cover like wear and tear, like your roof is due to be replaced, for example. It wouldn't cover to replace the roof. It would, if it's due to wind that caused the damage, yes, then it will be covered. So that's usually what I say. But when someone asks is it covered, was it due to wind or was it due? And there are a bunch of different perils on a homeowner's policy: fire and lightning, windstorms, smoke, vandalism, theft, water, snow and sleet and stuff like that.
So, okay, so what would you say the biggest misconception homeowners have about their insurance policies?
I probably would say the wear and tear.
Wear and tear?
Yes, like it's so important, especially in Florida, to keep your roof up to like in good shape. And roofs don't last as long in Florida as in New Jersey. In New Jersey, you might have a roof that's 25 years old and it's totally fine. In Florida, you might not even like get it insured.
So let's talk about that real quick as far as the roofs are concerned, because that's a really good topic. Now, what do you think, what have you seen as far as the ages of roofs? Like what's the most, I guess, oldest roof that you saw that was able to get insured?
I would say like with Citizens, they offer coverage for pretty old roofs. All right. And but then other insurance companies, I would say once you hit that, like between 20 and 25, it's going to get a little harder. And usually when you get to that age of the roof, Citizen is probably your only option. And this is just for like Florida.
And is that a premium? Do you think that, because like, let's say the roof is 22 years old, right? And Citizen is going to cover it. But do you think that that's going to be at a premium, like at a higher cost?
Like the insurance companies, they won't even like insure it because the chances of it having a claim because there, water leak or something like that is very likely. So they won't even accept it, the home as one of their policies, or they won't take on the home or the risk. So it's not necessarily the premium. They just don't want to insure it because it's likely that something will happen in a storm or heavy rain or something.
Yeah, we've been through a lot where, like, let's say, I remember having, I was representing the seller, and we had it so that the buyers were able to get the like a temporary insurance. They closed, and then they had to replace the roof within a time period, right?
Yes.
So that's also one too. So how often should homeowners review and update their insurance policies? Like, does it auto renew every year or like?
Yes, it auto renews every year. I would say anytime you maybe update your kitchen, maybe you add a pool, something like that. Anytime you update something like a pool or something like that, I would reach out to your insurance agent and let them know, because that will change the replacement cost of your home or the dwelling value. So if you what they call dwelling A, or the coverage for the or coverage A, which is the dwelling, there is a way that insurance companies calculate that. So they take the average cost of labor and materials in our area. So New Jersey is going to be different from Florida, for example, times the square footage, the quality grade, and so forth. And that's how they come up how much it would cost to rebuild your home. So it's not the same as what you're buying the home for, because you're buying it with the land, the market value, and so forth. So if you don't have a pool and then you add a pool, that pool is going to add value to your home, to or the reconstruction cost of your home. Some things like that. Or if you put in a new kitchen, or if you buy a home that's like a fixer-upper type of home, and you add a nice kitchen and a nice bathroom, and it's going to increase the replacement cost, or how much it would cost to rebuild a home. So anytime you do that, I would say reach out to your insurance agent and let them know what you've done. If you don't have any updates, I would say every year or every other year. And usually insurance agents, if your premium goes up a certain percentage, they will reach out to you and present options. Hey, I see that your insurance went up 10, 15% this year. I ran some quotes for you, and I've found better options for you. So, and then you can review it. But I would say absolutely reach out to your insurance agent every year for renewal and see, are there other options? And let them know if anything has changed.
Okay. So, how do Florida unique weather conditions such as hurricanes, floods affect home insurance requirements?
So that is carrier specific, how they do that. So some people are very scared of putting in claims because they think they're going to get dropped or premium is going to get up. So with Florida, when you get dropped, it's not always because of the number of claims. Sometimes carriers, they stop doing business in Florida for a while and then they open up again. Sometimes you get new carriers, and it all comes down to the insurance company staying healthy financially. So if someone is really healthy, they're in a good space, and they find their like niche market. I have one insurance carrier, their rates for new homes, like new build, is like, it's amazing. They're very, very good rates. And because that's their niche market, like no older than 5 years old, homes that are no older than 5 years.
Yeah.
That's their niche market. And then you have others, their niche might be a 25-year-old home or older. So it's really what their focus is. And that's why it's good to work with a broker who represents many different insurance carriers.
Correct. Yeah, and I feel like that's the same thing when it comes to like the mortgage side of things as well, right? It's always good. I feel like it's good to work with a broker because they're able to shop around and get you the best rate, right? And the best the best deal essentially. So what would you say the most common types of claims is made by Florida homeowners?
Flood. Yeah, like when it's a hurricane, it's usually not the wind that does the most damage. It's the water, like flooding. And a lot of people don't have flood, and that's one misconception too. Like, oh, I'm not in a flood zone. Every house is in a flood zone. It's just a matter if it's a high risk or a low risk. So if you're in a low risk, it doesn't mean it's never going to flood. It's just that it's less likely to flood.
But do you recommend a homeowner to because flood insurance doesn't come with the insurance, right? Is it like it's an add-on?
So some carriers, like Edison being one of them, you can add it as an endorsement as long as you're not in a high risk, because then they might not offer it. But sometimes they offer it. So you can, for $50, usually around $50, you can add it as an endorsement and have flood insurance on your homeowners policy. So you have that option. But most carriers, they don't offer that. So then you would have to have a standalone. But again, there are so many private flood insurance companies out there. You can shop it. If you're in a low risk flood zone, you can get it for $300-400 a year. So it doesn't have to be bad. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that expensive. So I definitely recommend everyone to have flood insurance, at least a little bit, because you never know in hurricanes and stuff. But definitely flood, and then wind, of course, is another high reason.
No, not $50 a month, Pedro. $300 to $400 a year. So you would just divide that by 12. Which is, let me see. Now I'm curious. I can't do math in my head.
It's like $25-$30 a month. So it's really.
Yeah, like if it was $400 a year, then it would be around $33 a month, which
Yeah.
I feel it's definitely I feel like that's doable, right? And it's
Yeah.
great just to have that added protection. That's kind of like, you know how when you I always they always get me the airline insurance,
Yeah.
right? I'm gonna go book a flight and they're like, "Do you want to protect it?" Right? And I'm like, do I really need to spend this extra $30? And then I think about it as a whole. I was like, you know what? I'd rather spend this extra $30 just in case, I can't make this $600 flight, right?
Yes. Yes.
I think it's always I always go by. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So especially, I can understand if it's more like 3,000-4,000 a year, definitely. But if you're in a low risk zone, at least ask your insurance agent to run you some quotes. So then and you can make an educated decision whether you want it or not.
Now, are you seeing a big difference in rates between like brand new homes versus a few years old or older homes? Like, is it a big difference?
Yes, it definitely is a difference. So location and age of the home, and then updates. So if you have updated an older home, you definitely get the credit for that. But age and location definitely affects the premiums.
That makes sense because a lot of my clients move to the Ocala area, right?
Mhm.
Where so it's definitely central and north, right? And
Uh-huh.
most of the homes that they buy are brand new homes, and
Uh-huh.
so I believe one of my clients had as low as like $700
Oh
for
yeah,
the year.
definitely. Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's one of the carriers that I was mentioning,
Mhm.
and that's kind of like their niche market, the newer homes, and their rate, their premium usually, for I would say for like a house between 300, 450 in dwelling value,
Mhm.
it's around under 1,000.
Wow. So the homeowners insurance is basic. It's going based off the purchase price as well. Like, tell me a little bit about that.
So the dwelling value,
Yeah,
or
the
yeah.
dwelling
So,
value.
so the dwelling value is, so when I run the quotes, I put in the square footage. So that's why I ask some questions sometimes, and especially when it's like a new build, I don't know all the specs. The square footage, number of bathrooms, how big the garage is, 1 story, 2 story, type of roof, if it's shingle, tile, and I put it in the system, and that's when they calculate how much it would cost to rebuild a home without the land, just strictly labor and material. So that it's gonna be different than what they're buying the home for, because you're buying it for market value. This insurance doesn't, they don't take that in consideration when they're insuring a home, because if you insure it for market value, you're over insuring it. Because if you buy it for 900,000 and it costs maybe 500,000 to rebuild, you're just wasting money for the 400,000 in between that is just market value and land and so forth. So they only go by how much it would cost to rebuild a home. And I usually it's around 160 to 190 if it's like standard, like quality type of, like Home Depot type of grade. If you have like imported marble or something like that, of course, then you have to add that as a above grade or custom and so forth. But around 160, 190, somewhere around there per square footage. If you just take your square footage and then times that, you kind of know that, okay, this dwelling value is about right.
Got it. Okay. And then, so talk to me about how can people get I guess like discounts off of their homeowners insurance, right? So there's the wind mitigation,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But a 4-point inspection, that's required.
So 4 point depends again on the insurance company. Citizens, anything older than 20 years, the home, if it's older than 20 years, they require a 4 point. Some carriers, they don't require it until it's 30 years or older. Some are 40 years and older. So it depends on their underwriting guidelines. But usually people get it if it's like 20 years or older because of citizens, because that's their requirement. They have it on file, and it's also good to have a 4-point because it will give you all the details about the electrical and plumbing on your house and when it was updated and so forth. So it's good to have anyways. And then wind mitigation, you can get credits for. The amount of the credit or the dollar amount of credit depends on the data that's on the wind mitigation. So it's not the wind mitigation itself that gives you a discount. All those little boxes that they have marked off, depending on which one they select, like clips or single wrap or whatever, that gives a different discount. So those are the two things. So yes.
Are you getting a discount for the 4-point inspection, or is it just the wind mitigation?
No, it's mainly just the wind mitigation. The 4-point would be some carriers will give you discounts if it has, like, if you've updated the home, right? If you haven't, but usually that's more like for eligibility to make sure you don't have certain plumbing that they don't accept, or the amp is too low or something like that. It's more for eligibility than discounts.
Okay. Have you seen a 4-point inspection report requested for, like, let's say a 2-year-old home?
Some people do that, but you don't have to. If it's a 2-year-old home, you don't have to get the wind mitigation. You don't have to get the 4-point because they know it's up to code or latest. Sometimes they just apply the like a standard discount because it's a newer home. So you don't have to do that. It's when it's getting a little older that you benefit from it.
Yeah. And then talk to me about and I always butcher this name, the polybutylene pipes. Like, have you seen where insurance companies are writing policies on homes that have that, or it most likely has to get changed?
So I know insurance carriers that will write it or do accept the policy. However, they might not include water coverage. So because if the pipe breaks and there's going to be a water claim, so you can still get insurance on it, but you don't have coverage for water, or it might be limited to 10,000 or 5,000, something like that. But yes, so you can still like buy a home if you really want a home, and the seller, they don't want to make any changes. You can buy the home, get the insurance, and then change it afterwards if you would like to. You just wouldn't have water coverage until you change the piping.
And so what exactly is water coverage?
So that would be if let's say a pipe breaks and causes water damage. Yeah.
Okay. Because there's so many different, I feel like, entities of this homeowners insurance, right? It covers this, it covers that. So I definitely understand. So Sergio said, is there any spray-on treatment that can extend the life of the roof? I don't know, to be very honest with you. I'm not
that would be more like a roofer. And another thing is with citizens, because they and some other carriers, then you need to have a life or the roof has to have a life expectancy of more than 5 years. I don't. That would be a roofer question. But and also, I know the insurance companies, they are sometimes they're very. If it's 15 years, it's 15 years, and anything older than that, they won't insure. Whether the roof has 10 years of life left.
Yeah. Billy said 2024 and there's no leak-proof technology for roofs is wild. Yes, I know. I mean, I feel like these companies have to make their money somehow, right? Like,
I mean, you have the secondary water resistant on a windmill. It says SWR. That's extra protection. So you do get a big discount for that. And newer homes, they have that. So when you have a newer home, they automatically apply that discount.
Got it. Okay. Make sure you guys are writing your questions and sending it to us so I can make sure that I go ahead and ask her. So let me see. Hold on. Yeah, so that was a so tell me about, do you see windstorm coverage here in Florida or not necessarily?
Oh yeah. You have it, yeah. To get the mortgage, you have to have wind. Um, so you definitely have wind. Um, so it comes with wind, and the main difference between wind and hurricane is the wind would fall usually under your um, all other perils deductible, which is usually
Mhm.
2,500. The hurricane deductible is usually 2%. So of the dwelling value. So if you have a dwelling value or a home 500,000, 2% of that would be your deductible. So if you have a claim, and let's say it cost 20,000 to repair the damage, the homeowner will be responsible for 10,000
10,000.
because that's a hurricane deductible.
Got it.
Like in New Jersey, New York, usually, I mean, you can have a hurricane deductible, but usually you just have like one set deductible.
So if, do you know by like how much it increases if a homeowner does issue a claim on the home?
So that's the $1 million questions that we will never be able to answer because there's so
Mhm.
many things that taken in consideration. It could be the claim from the homeowner, but then also claims from other homeowners that they need to financially be stable because they need to make sure that they can pay out the claims. So if there's a year with a lot of claims and they have to pay out a lot, they need to um, make sure that if there's another year with claims or future claims that they will be able to pay it out to the insured. Yeah. So they always need to have like reserves to be able to pay out the claims. So if they increase the rates or premiums, that is to rebuild
Their reserves.
reserves. Yeah.
So if, okay, let's say a current let's say a buyer is going to purchase a home and
Mhm.
that the current homeowners filed two claims, right? Is
Uh-huh.
that going to affect the new buyers?
In most cases, no, but there
Okay.
are some carriers that do take in consideration claims from a prior owner. But I would say most of the time, no. If it's yeah.
And how many different insurance homeowners insurance companies write policies here in Florida?
Ooh, I don't know an exact number, but there's quite a
Still quite
few.
a few.
There's quite a few. Oh my God. I would have to count it, but it's actually a lot. I almost think Florida has more than New Jersey, for example,
And it's
because there's been a
yeah.
regional.
And it's so crazy, right? Because people still think and they write it all the time. You can't get insurance
Yeah.
in Florida. All the insurance companies left, and it's just
Mhm.
like, no, that's not the case, right? And
Yeah.
yes, were there insurance companies that left? Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
they left, but there's still so many other ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I tell them like your homeowner's insurance is going to, like you said earlier in our discussion, that it's gonna depend on where the location of the home is, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
how old the house is, right? Because how
Yes.
old the house is, then you're gonna have to look at all of the major factors.
Yeah.
How old is the roof, the plumbing, the
Uh-huh.
AC, things like that. So
Yes.
and that's what and even on a resale home in Ocala, and you're the one who had one of my clients.
Mhm.
It was a resale home, and I think the home was built in like 2008, I want to say,
Uh-huh.
and her policy was only 1,300.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, newer homes in Florida. It's a um, that will very much help you with your lowering your premium. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then
Yeah.
that's what I always tell my clients this. You definitely want to go into, if you could go new construction, I like new construction because it
Uh-huh.
has so many of those the warranties and things like that, right? But
Uh-huh.
if you're going with a resale home, then you want to check and see, what those major factors are in the house, the roof, and how old those parts are, right? Because that's going to make
Yes.
a big difference. And
Yeah.
then if you're on the coast, right? How do
Mhm.
you write any policies like on the coast in
Yes.
Miami? What are those insurance policies looking like?
Yeah, no, so you just have to, I mean, you can still find, I'm not going to say affordable because it is very expensive, but you can find, reasonable. You just have to kind of tailor it to what you need. So some some policies, you might have like, a lot of personal property coverage. But what I always say is like, okay, how much do you think you really need? Do you need 200,000 to replace your couch, your furniture, your TV, and all of that, or can you go with a little bit less? And that's where you really can make up some money and save some money. It's important to really try to tailor what you need, so you're not paying for things that you might not need. So, but yeah, no, Miami, it's it can be expensive. It can be a few thousand.
Well, it's definitely, so you would say that is it safe to say that homeowners insurance will definitely be less in the like Central Florida area than on the coast or Miami?
Yes.
Okay. Pedro, I'll answer you that question after this, because that has nothing to do with homeowners insurance. James said, great information, ladies. Stevenson said, what are minor upgrades can someone make to a condo or single family that will help lower homeowners insurance?
So one thing, for example, in like condos would be, one thing with condos, people don't think always that, oh, it's a condo, I'm not responsible for a roof, I don't need the wind mitigation. On your portal, on your HOA portal, they should have a copy of the latest wind mitigation for your building. Give that to your insurance agent, because there are carriers that will apply a wind mitigation credit even if it's a condo. So I always say, yeah, you can just go on the portal. Usually most HOAs, they have it on the portal where they have all the, the meeting notes and all the documents, so you can get it from there. So that's one thing where you can get some credits. And then updates, I would say like AC and water heater for condos definitely are more like minor ones. See if your insurance carrier will offer you some discount for having kind of like a water detection device. Some insurance companies, they actually offer it. Like I have one carrier, they will mail you, it's like a hockey puck water detector you just put under your sink next to the washer, and they will give you a discount for that because it detects if there's a water leak.
Okay.
So little things that you can do.
That's very interesting. I didn't even know that. 1,300, Billy, 1,300 a year. That's how much her insurance was. Hi, Fred. James said, what kind of discount do hurricane-proof ICF walls get?
So all of that would would go on the wind mitigation. So it's depends on what type, like the hurricane, like what type of force, it can sustain, and it will be on the last section of on the wind mitigation.
So that's actually a good question. So okay, so there's a builder out here in the Central Florida area, right, that they actually build towards Miami. They build in Punta Gorda, right? And so they use those same exact the building requirements there. Here in the Central Florida, that's not necessarily required, right? So they do hurricane resistant windows, and all of their walls are concrete, right? And structurally built, right? So would you say that would all go under like the wind mitigation, and there is potential for extra discounts?
Yes, definitely. So on the wind mitigation, where it says hurricane force, and then have two different levels of hurricane force, and the wind mitigation, like the inspector will answer that question. And then if you have like concrete block walls, that will it's already built into the premium when I quote it. If you have a frame house, you the premium is going to be a little bit different then I'm sorry. Then if you have a concrete block home, it will give you a little bit of a discount.
So you're gonna have a discount with a concrete home versus a frame built home.
Yes.
Okay. Does that even? I'm curious. What are mostly the houses made of in like New Jersey?
In Jersey, it's mostly frame.
Frame.
In Florida, is you know, the first floor is mostly, if it's a newer home, it's mostly block. Yeah.
Yeah, block. And there are some builders here who do the block on the second floor as well.
Yes. So that will be a full like masonry home. And then if it's like 50-50, then it's a masonry and veneer where you have the frame on the second floor and the concrete on the first floor. But they will still give you a discount.
There's a discount. Oh, okay. And then, you know, there are builders now in the Ocala area that are building frame versus block because it's cheaper for them, right? But if it were me, I think I personally would prefer a block over frame, just because I feel like it's more
yeah.
It's a little bit more secure. Ahmad said, hello, ladies. Thank you for all the good information. Billy, we just answered your question as far as the cost differences on Onyx properties. You would get more discounts off of by the wind mitigation because of those concrete walls and the hurricane resistant, the hurricane impact windows and things like that. Pedro said, I noticed most homeowners insurance don't like to insure homes with flat roofs. Is that true?
I would say not so much in Florida, because in Florida it's mostly reinforced concrete roofs, so it's okay. In New Jersey, yes, because they will still insure it, but for example, in New Jersey, they might not insure it if it's older than like 10 or 15 years. But in Florida, I haven't seen that many issues with a flat roof, because usually they're reinforced concrete roofs here.
Okay. That's a good question, Pedro. Ahmad said, what's the difference between flood damage and storm damage in Florida?
So flood damage would be like water, like flood, right? And storm is wind. Is that what it...
Maybe.
But then you have also like flood. For it to be flood, if it's like what makes it flood versus like just like water damage, it has to be over a bigger area, a certain like footage and so forth. So there is a difference between just water and when it turns into this is a flood claim.
Okay. Are there common mistakes that homeowners make when filing claims? Do you know?
Yes. I would not so much when it's like a big claim, but when it's like, oh, I have a little bit of water damage in my ceiling, something like that, I would recommend have someone come out and give you an estimate to make sure the cost of repairing the damage is more than your deductible. Because once you call in to an insurance company to make that claim, it's on your record, whether you go through with the claim or whether they pay things out. So that's on your history. Yes. So always reach out to your insurance agent and have a conversation with them. See like, okay, this is what happened. I think the cost of the repairs will be this. What do you think? Always advice with them. And I understand, like, you know, you might, when you see water coming down or, you know, damage to your home, you call the insurance company right away. I would be careful calling them right away without knowing exactly what your deductible is and the cost of the repair, because the last thing you want to do is put in a claim for $2,500 and your deductible is $2,500 and you get nothing. And then you just have a record on your claims history that you had a claim. So then when you go to reshop your insurance, they're going to say, oh, you had a claim. And you're going to be, no, I didn't. You know, it was so small, or I didn't get the payout. It still counts as a claim when you go to buy, you know, to shop your insurance.
No, that makes sense. Hi, Shiloh. Ahmad said 4 feet of water after storm. What are the limitations for claims?
So 4 foot of water would be flood. And I'm not sure the limitations of claims. Like in that case, I would definitely call the flood carrier, because it's not going to go under your homeowners. And that's, that's why it's so important to have flood insurance too. So because your homeowner's insurance company is not going to pay out anything. So what they will do, they will send out an adjuster, see what damages were made, have been made, and how much it will cost to, to fix to repair the home, and whatever the amount is that you have on your flood insurance policy for your dwelling. So FEMA, they only go up to $250,000. So that's the max they will pay out to repair your home or rebuild your home. A private flood insurance company, they can go up. You can have it insured for $500,000, $600,000. They will do more.
Can you have the private as a secondary, or you only can choose whether it be FEMA or?
Yeah, you can have FEMA, and then you can have something called excess flood that covers anything above the $250,000, or you can just go with like a private flood insurance company for the the entire amount. So it's very important to see, okay, what is the dwelling value on my flood policy, and that is up to that amount that they will pay out to repair it.
Got it. And then you're still going to have a deductible when it comes to that.
Okay. Yes. Okay. For flood, it's usually like $2,500 or $5,000. It's not like a percentage. It's a set.
Got it. James said gutters are somewhat rare in Florida compared to up north. Do gutters in Florida matter to insurance companies? That's a great question, James.
No.
Yeah. And then, and it's, I have a lot of people, the house doesn't come with gutters, and I'm like, it's not required, right?
Yeah,
it is really not required. There are some builders who will put the gutters on there, and I recommend you having gutters. Like after you close, you install the gutters. They're not as expensive as people think they are, but yes, you definitely, I think you need gutters. Carmen, I'll answer your question in just a little bit because that has nothing to do with insurance. Okay, there we go. Can houses in Ocala be insured for sinkholes?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
So that's an option.
Let's talk about that real quick. Like, are there more areas more prominent for sinkholes, or like, tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, like Ocala, like I would say like north of Tampa. Some in Polk County mainly. If you're like in Volusia County, it's not as likely. But yeah, so north of Tampa and Polk County, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, so I haven't. So we've been having a lot of our businesses in Ocala, and I haven't where we sell a lot. There haven't been any like sinkholes or anything like that. But there is a few years ago when I was helping clients purchase in Spring Hill, there was a lot of different like sinkholes there because a lot of the listings had the kind of like a disclosure about the sinkhole, or it was remediated, right? So me personally, I haven't seen any in Ocala, and I live in Polk County, so where I live, I haven't seen any, but I've heard of different areas of having sinkhole. So can you explain to them like do you know what a sinkhole is, and like how does that insurance, like how does that affect insurance?
So it's not automatically like on your, there's an option on your homeowners that you can add. So if you're in one of those areas, ask your insurance agent to quote you with sinkhole coverage. So that will be if the ground below, like under the house collapses, so the home collapses, the deductible is usually a little higher on those, but you do have coverage for that.
Got it. Okay. Let me see. Can houses? So yes, you can insure your home. So like, let's say you live, so that's kind of like flood insurance, right? Like you can add it to your policy.
So you don't have to have a separate policy for that. You can just add it for your on your homeowners. There's when we quote, there's like a little drop down. You can add sinkhole coverage.
Got it. Okay.
As an endorsement.
Have you heard of any sinkholes in Port St. Lucie?
No.
No? Okay. Shiloh said, what is the status of the Florida-sponsored homeowners insurance?
Oh, that I don't know.
Will it still be available in the next? She said, "Will it still be available in the next couple of years? Who qualifies?"
Yeah, that would be more like that would be more like a government type of, uh question.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious about that, so I will screenshot that.
Yeah, that's actually a good question.
She's the best with her questions. She asks really good questions. Shiloh, I'm gonna look that up for you. James said the villages had some sinkholes in the past. Yeah, I've heard of that as well. The villages. Okay, let's see. What should prospective home buyers in Florida look for in an insurance policy when purchasing a home?
So when you compare different quotes, I would look at the dwelling value might differ a little bit, but it's not going to make a huge difference. I would look at personal property, for example, because that is a percentage of the dwelling. So they can offer you 25% of the dwelling or 30%. So that's something that will affect the premium. So when you compare them, just so you kind of compare apples to apples. So that's one thing. Also, does your personal property have replacement cost settlement or actual cash value settlement? Because actual cash value would
Can
be.
you explain to us? I don't understand that.
So the actual cash value, that would be, let's say you have a 10-year-old couch. And the easiest way to think about that is how much, if I were to sell it today, how much would I get for it? Probably not a ton. You wouldn't get as much as you bought it for, right? So that's actual cash value. Replacement cost is they will replace that couch with a similar couch, whatever it costs today. So if you bought it for, $3,000, they will, and it has, or a TV, for example. If you have a TV, they will replace it with a similar TV in today's world, right? So it's much better to have replacement costs because they will replace it with similar like items,
not versus what you bought
actual cash value, which is they do depreciation. All right, so but your premium will be much lower. So if you're you don't want to spend that much money on homeowners insurance and you want to save a little bit and you're willing to take that chance, I mean, by all means, like that's a good way to save some money. So those are a few things you should look at. And then also
to save money, you would go with actual cash value versus replacement cost?
I don't recommend that, but sometimes you also, if you're in an area or the insurance policy is quite high and you want to save some money because you also have to please like the mortgage and all of that, right? So that's an option.
But you're saying you recommend
I recommend replacement costs. Yes. Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
It's just if you want to save some money there. Yeah. So, and then also look at the deductibles when you look at your quotes, especially the hurricane deductible, if it's 2% or 5%, because the dwelling value is 500,000 and you have a 5% hurricane deductible, that means that you will pay 25,000 out of pocket if there's a claim, right? Versus 2%, then it's 10,000. So that's a huge difference.
But then, are you paying a higher premium?
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a 5% deductible for hurricane, your premium is going to be less than if you have 2%.
Okay.
You have to look. You can quote it both ways. Again, if you know both ways, you can make an educated decision.
That's what I always recommend. That's why I always be like, here, these are the cards we have, and then you make that as the educated decision, right? Yeah. And so me personally, I'd rather always pay a premium so that God forbid something worse to happen, then I'm paying the lower deductible, right?
Yes.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, that's a huge difference, and people might not fully understand how that 5%, how to calculate it, so they don't know that it's actually 25,000. So that's a big thing to look for. And then also water backup. it's not automatic. It's like Sinkhole. It's not automatically included in a homeowner's policy. That's an endorsement that you have to add on. So that would be if a pipe, not if it breaks, but if it backs up and causes water damage. So let's say your toilet backs up on the second floor, causes water damage, and it comes down on the first floor, that will fall under water backup. So that's one thing you can look for. And if it has it, like for example, Citizen, they don't offer that coverage, right? But other carriers, they do. So that's one thing to look for. Yeah.
So I think that's a great point. And so Citizens, if you guys don't know, it's just an insurance company, right, that offers homeowners insurance. So Lena is a broker. So she basically is the one who's actually, she doesn't work for one specific homeowners insurance company. She's a broker, so she shops several different companies to get you the best rate and whatever you want to add on and things like that. Stevenson said, what is the average increase of homeowners insurance when the property isn't owner occupied anymore? That's a very great question.
So that would be a different policy then. Not to confuse even more. Yes. So if you don't live there anymore and you have it as a vacant home, or you have a tenant in there, it's a different policy. It's what they call a DP3. So it's a different type of policy. So it doesn't cover. It doesn't have as much coverage necessarily, or like than a homeowner's. So it's not whether it increases. It's a different policy. It's a different type policy. And
it's covering different things.
Yeah, like you, instead of loss of use, you would have like loss of rents, for example, because the tenant can't live there, so you're gonna lose the rent and so forth. So it's a different type of policy. Sometimes water is covered, sometimes it's not covered, that type of thing. So it's a different policy. And the reason why it might be a little bit more expensive sometimes is because you, the homeowner, don't live there. So if it's a tenant, they might not take care of it as much with, and love and care as you, the owner of the home. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like the main thought behind when carriers set their premiums for a tenant occupied home versus a homeowner
occupied. Yeah. Okay. Carmen says sinkhole subject is more important than storm insurance, because if you get a sinkhole, it's the real end of property, not like flood or storm. I'm concerned about Ocala. I'm in the market for a house in Ocala. Don't want to lose my investment. I mean, I don't feel like it's something to dwell upon, right?
It's very, very
it's unlikely, right?
It's more common.
I mean, we live in a hurricane state, right? So a hurricane could come, and if we think about all the what ifs, then we're never going to make a decision, right? Mm-hmm. And so if a sinkhole was to happen, that doesn't mean that that's the end all be all of a property, right? It gets remediated. So it gets remediated in the sense of there's companies who actually are experts in repairing sinkholes. And me personally, I feel like if you have a repaired sinkhole, your house is more structurally sound because they're reinforcing it with more things for it not to happen again, right? Mm-hmm. So I would not make a decision out of fear, right? No. A lot of people live in Ocala. A lot of people has been living in Ocala for decades. So I really wouldn't be afraid of that. You can get a grounds. James said you can get a ground survey if sinkholes worry you. Yeah, absolutely. But like I said, I'm a firm believer of if it happens for a reason type of person, right? And you can't go around like, you have to come to the place of believing in something, whether it's a higher up or whatever your belief is, but you have to replace the what if or even if Okay, so even if this was to happen, there's ways to, remediate this. There's ways to, you have homeowners insurance. If you're afraid, you add the sinkholes, right? So it's just there's ways to protect yourself. So
Yes.
I think you need to start thinking like what if versus you have to start thinking even if versus what if, right? I think that'll change a lot of decisions. Let me see. Carmen said, what is a contingency plan if your well water dries up in Ocala? That's a good question. I've never heard of well water drying up in Ocala. But that's something that I could definitely look for you. Shiloh said, if your car is in the garage and your house sustains damage during a storm, the damage affects your car. Is a homeowner's insurance claim? Is it a homeowner's insurance claim or is it an auto insurance claim?
That would be the way it sounds. I mean, there are so many details to that, but usually that would be a comp claim on your auto. So that would cover like if it's like fire or water or something like that. If your car is not moving, yeah.
Okay, but is that kind of like a loaded question, right? There's just there's so many different scenarios and things?
Yeah, with claims, it's not always like a yes or a no. There's a lot of details into it, and yeah.
Okay.
But so, usually I would say it would be the comp, or like the comp on your, like the comprehensive coverage of your car. So how you have comp and collision. Collision is if your car is moving. Comp is when it's like water or fire, or like, when it's not moving. That's the easiest way of like thinking of the different deductibles.
Got it. So quick question. Do you ever see that it's cheaper if people bundle their like car insurance, home insurance, or tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So up north, yes, definitely. Because up there you have the homeowners insurance companies that also offer auto and so forth. So you can bundle it. Florida is different. So here we have so many regional insurance companies, and they only focus on property like home and so they don't offer an auto product. So therefore you don't always see a bundle. Yes, some carriers they will offer it if you just have the auto within the same agency, since we don't have home and auto combined type of companies like Travelers and stuff like that. We have Travelers for auto, but they don't do home in Florida. Up in New Jersey, they do home and auto.
So that's more popular in like up north versus.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay, so to wrap up, are there any key points or resources homeowners should keep in mind for future reference as far as homeowners insurance is concerned?
I would say, shop around, because there are tons of insurance companies in Florida. You might not have heard of them before because they don't have like big storefronts and stuff like that. But there are definitely options. If someone drops you, it might not be because of something that you did necessarily. They might just not want to insure homes in that area at that moment. But that doesn't mean it's forever. Nothing is forever, right? So they might open up in a year, again, to that area. That happens. There are so many changes all the time in Florida. They close, they open up, and so forth. So always, at your renewal, ask them to shop to see if are any other options and new carriers.
Any new discounts, maybe, right?
Yes.
I feel like it's always worth asking. Like, is there any discounts, or is there any new programs, any new discounts and things?
Yeah, because maybe like right now, like if you go get a policy right now, there might be carriers that don't write or in that area right now, or their guidelines, are different right now, and they might not have the same guidelines next year. So next year they might be available, but we couldn't quote it through them this year because they weren't open. But next year they might have opened up in that area again. And that has happened. Like Universal Property and Casualty, for example, they didn't do a condo for a while in the Tampa area. But then I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, they opened up again. And they have really good like rates for condo insurance. So absolutely. Florida is such a changing market. It's always changing. So always, see if there are better options. But I wouldn't do it too often. But like every renewal, see if there are other options for it.
That's it. Yeah. And somebody asked, do you help with short-term rental policies?
Yes.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
And can we have Lena's contact at the end, please? So how can I get I'm trying to see. What's best to read? Emailing?
Yeah, emailing or calling. So my office number is 407 813 2093. And then my email is lena.mayo@yourinsuranceHut.com.
Okay, so we got lena.mayo@your
Insurance Hut.
Okay. .com, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So lena.mayo@yourinsuranceHut.com. Okay, perfect. Yep. So anyone who's interested, please feel free to reach out to her. Maybe she can definitely shop around, see if she can get you a better quote. It's always good to have that conversation. Thank you so much, Lena.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun.
Taking the time out. I'm very much about providing as much value to my clients, to my people as possible. So you definitely gave us a great insight in as far as the homeowners insurance world here in Florida. I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, what did you think about that? Did she provide some gems? I do. I believe that she did. I thought it was super informative. I've been wanting to have an insurance agent on here for so long. So I'm super excited that she was able to come on here and ask and answer our questions. So let me go back to let me see. Anyways, before I go there, I hope you guys had a great week. We had a really good week. It was busy, and the kids have off of school tomorrow. Happy Veterans Day. Okay, so Pedro asks, how can a person be protected from title fraud? So that's why we have title insurance here. And when we go through a title company, we have an owner's policy, which basically is going, the title company is ensuring that the people are who they say they are, going through all of the documents, the title, making sure that there's no liens, there's no fraud. So that's how that gets taken care of. Pedro said, please thank your husband for me, all his hard work. Let me see who else, because I know there was an Ocala question. Can the Ocala builders build on my own lot? And if I buy their lot and they can add extra square footage to the house, like building a 2020, like just an example. Can we tell if Ocala is cheaper than Orlando? I mean, I would say that Ocala is definitely cheaper than Orlando. It depends on where in Orlando specifically as well, because the land is a lot more expensive in Orlando than it is in Ocala. It depends. You're going to have to find a builder who will build on somebody else's lot. There are a lot of the builders who do not build on other people's lot, but there are some who will. And you would probably have, so like, let's say if you buy a house that's already built, you would probably have to have a contractor to go ahead and build that extra structure for you. Shiloh said, have a friend in a title issue with their father's land. It's a nightmare. Always get title insurance. Yeah, absolutely. Especially here, title land fraud is on the rise. And the title companies are really, really good as far as detecting that and making sure that the sale does not go through. But that is on the rise here is land. There's owners who are like, oh, I'm going to sell my piece of land. Just sell it for whatever you think it's going to be. And then when it comes down to like showing documentation, showing IDs, the IDs are fake and things like that. So yeah, that's very, very, very important. Pedro said, thank you for all your hard work. Fred said, thank you for the information. We will see you in December. Yes, I'm super excited. There's a lot of good things coming. We have started our luxury tours. We uploaded, that hurt. We uploaded one on Thursday. Not doing the best. I don't know if Thursday is the right day, but that's okay. Tomorrow we are uploading the Onyx homes, but the 2-floor one. So I'm excited about that home. Tuesday we recorded in Denellen, which is just right outside of Ocala, and we did a brand new home that already comes with the fence included. So that was very, very exciting. It's a super cute home. And then Thursday or maybe Friday, we did a luxury home in Davenport, Florida, in a gated golf course community called Providence. I actually have clients buying in there. They're buying a resale home, very, very nice pool home. And then today we are dropping our Sunshine State video. So we basically toured a little bit of what Kissimmee has to offer as far as like families is concerned. So we went to a few places. So I'm excited for you guys to see that. I wanted to mention something to you guys, and it was on my heart since yesterday, so I want to mention it before I get off of the live. So this has happened to me multiple times where I'm with clients, right? And whether we're like at a new construction community, we're at a model home, and there's other people who notice me, and they're like, oh, you know, Alexis Diaz, or I got you, girl, right? That's what I'm known for too, the I got you, girl. I absolutely love it, actually. Anyway, so this happened to me yesterday. I was with my clients and we were at a community and we were at the model home. And a woman comes up to me and she's like, Miss Alexis Diaz, right? And I've never seen her before. So I'm like, hi, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'm super embarrassed to tell you this. And I was like, just tell me, you know? And she was like, I'm such and such. And I was like, oh, wow, right? And so this person, we've actually been in communication, constantly following up just to see, because they were selling their house in New York. And all of a sudden I get ghosted, no more like replies or anything like that. And, you know, I used to take it personal, right? Because I'm just like, well, damn, right? Like I put a lot of time and things, but it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. You don't know why people do what they do. So I'm a very curious person. If I have you right in front of me, I'm going to ask you what happened. Like what happened? And so she was like that she actually sold her home with Redfin, right? So Redfin told her, if you use one of our agents to buy a house in Florida, then we'll give you money back. And she was like, I'm super embarrassed to tell you that and all this other stuff. So, and I told her, I was like, it's always worth the conversation, right? Like, I feel like at the end of the day, we're all adults, number one. And number two, I feel like communication is key. Like, let's have an open, honest communication conversation to see if there's anything that I can do for you better than what they're offering you, right? So number one, a lot of people think, oh, well, they're going to give me money back, right? Like, I'm going to save money, but you don't know what agent they're putting you with, right? And number two, these agents don't work. I'm not saying I'm not a Redfin agent, but a lot of these agents are on like salary and things like that. So they're not as, like hustling as, you know, general like us we do, right? That we own our own business and stuff. But not only that, it's just like, okay, what if you don't know this agent? What if it's a brand new agent? What if they don't have your best interest in mind, right? Like, what if they don't know how to negotiate and actually get you the best deal. Are you really saving money? And at the end of the day, once we have that conversation and we're looking at everything as a whole, if that's the better option for you, then go do it, right? But I feel like we have to be okay with having conversation. We have to be okay with that. Like, let's have an open, honest conversation and see, well, maybe what I can do for you, right? Or if I can, if I could get you a better deal. I just feel like it annoyed me a little bit, just because I feel that people don't like having hard conversations. And it's or even if she told me, oh, I clicked with somebody else, or I vibed with somebody else, then that's okay. I promise you're not going to hurt my feelings. You're really not. It's just I'd rather know than be ghosted, right? Just like, really. And so that brings me to just kind of like, let's have an open, honest communication and have a conversation and see what let's look at everything as a whole. Because at the end of the day, you may not be saving all the money that you think you are saving, right? Because there's always a catch. I'm telling you, there's always a catch. So you want to see, are they charging you extra fees by selling your house, right? There's so much to look at. And I feel like it's always just worth the conversation. Now, I'll tell you another story, which 2025 for me is it's know my worth, right? I am worth what I charge. I'm worth it, right? I go to bat for all my clients. You could go on my Google reviews and you'll see that I go in for my clients because their best interest and them getting the best deal is priority for me, right? Along with being protected. So my assistant, my wonderful executive assistant, Katrina, she's like, 2025 is you're worthy, right? You're worthy of what you charge. So let's talk about that real quick. So I can't talk about the percentage on YouTube or anything like that. But I charge X amount, right? Working with me. Now, if the seller is offering an amount different from what then I charge, right, then my clients would be responsible for the difference. Normally it's not much, right? But if it's a percentage, if it's half a percentage, right? But I always am upfront and have that conversation. But there's always ways to get to that number as well. Anyway, what I charge, right? There's asking for extra closing costs, asking for extra incentives and things like that. But so I'm going to tell you a quick story. So I had a client that I went out. Well, she was a client that we met like 2 weeks ago, right? And I was the best for free, right? I was, we went to go. We went to check out different communities, answering all her questions prior to her arrival here in Florida. I answered all her questions, right? I am who I am, right? So I worked how I work. Then she tells me that she's interested in this certain builder, and this certain builder only pays a flat fee. And me personally, it's just not worth my time. I'm sorry. Like that, I put so much, regardless if it's this builder, another builder, a resale home, I put so much energy and time and resources and expertise into all of my clients, right? So that flat fee is just not going to work for me. So I had that open conversation. I'm like, listen, this is what I charge. This is what they offer. So the difference would have to, you would have to be responsible for it. But there's many other ways to get to that anyways. So she, after she went to go see the builder, and at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? If you really love that house and you feel like you're gonna get the best deal on your own and things like that, I never want to be a reason for someone to not get a home, right? So, but I kept that open communication. I reached out to her knowing that she went back home and things, nothing. It's like a week later and I still haven't received a reply. So I was like, okay. So I just reached out one more time, just wanted to follow up on my email and things like that. And she was like, I ended up just going to work with the builder by myself, on my own. She said, but if I decide to go with the other builders that we saw, then I'll reach out to you. And me personally, I'm not one to just be hanging on a stick and be like, okay, just stay right there because I may need you, right? Like I respectfully, I was like, no, thank you. I'll cancel our buyer broker agreement and we'll just go on. I wish you all the best. But going forward, and I just want anybody who's deciding that they want to work with me, is that I'm worth what I charge, right? I'm going to get you the best deal. I'm going to go for bat for you. I'm not a first year agent. I'm very, very experienced. And I always treat my clients like I would my family. And I always, like I said, put my clients' needs above mine, and I'm going to get you the best deal. But I do charge a certain percent because I am worth it. And that's just that. Woo, that was out my heart. Oh my gosh. Yes. That was on my heart. Shiloh said, the cost of fame. You are out there and highly recognized. People are misinformed on the multiple levels. Yes, I agree. I agree. It's like I said, that happened way too many times that somebody recognizes me and I'm just curious, like or like I said, that's one thing that I don't like to be is ghosted. I just let me know, right? I don't take any offense to it anymore. I used to. I'd be like, what did I do? And I'm like, it ain't you. Is the people got their own issues, their own problems, right? Like, so yeah. But that was good. Hey, you guys are the best, true New Yorker spirit. Yes, I can't wait to help you and your family here in Florida. Man, I don't even know what to do with these kids tomorrow. They have no school. I'm excited for this week. So this upcoming Saturday, I'm going to be sure to post on the community. We are having so we're actually having 2 client appreciation events. One's in Ocala, because I have a lot of my clients in Ocala, and then I have a lot of my clients in like the central, like the more central, the Davenport, Claremont, and all that stuff. So we're going to have 2, but this upcoming Saturday is our Ocala event, and I'm super excited for it. I'm super excited to see my clients and their families and just enjoy a good meal. I love food, and I love just breaking bread with people, and I feel like that's just on a whole nother level. So I'm excited for that. But let me know if you guys have any questions or comments or anything before we go. You guys know that I always just try to give you as much knowledge as I possibly can. I love you guys so much. Can you guys believe that we're already almost in mid-November? Like, that is just, it's so mind-boggling to me. I'm just like, what? Like, where did the time go? Christmas is already next month. We're about to hit the new year. I'm just like, what? It's crazy. Are you guys ready for Christmas? Let me know. I have to ask the kids to do the I don't have no list yet. They have not given me a list. Are your Christmas trees up yet? Hi, Cosette. Shiloh, seems like school just started yesterday. I 100% agree. Like, I don't understand. And now it's getting darker earlier. So it's just like kind of like you have to be in the house earlier. It's like getting darker already, like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So, but I'm excited. I'm waiting for like a cold front to happen in Florida, because we're still in the mid 80s here. So it's like the mornings are maybe like low 70s, and then it goes all the way up to the mid 80s, and it's just like, okay, I'm ready for a cold front. Billy said, I miss when Black Friday was Christmas tree time. Oh, you're right. Now everybody's like, after Halloween, they're putting up their Christmas tree and all that other stuff. Any big plans for the Thanksgiving? Not ready yet. Turkey first, then lechon asado. Yes, I'm telling Katrina like to invite us over. Her grandma cooks so good. So I was, and her dad has a pretty big house in Kissimmee, and I was telling her, I said, listen, I won't be mad if you want to invite us over for Thanksgiving. Okay. I was like, I'm not cooking, but I'll buy groceries and things like that. But let me know, because like I said, I'm a foodie and I enjoy really good food. Shiloh said, nope, no Christmas tree this year. We will spend it in Newberry, Florida this year. Really? Okay. I've been really wanting to spend a Christmas in like Tennessee and like Gatlinburg and the cabins and things like that. So that's something that I'm gonna try to plan for. Not this year, because this year was just super we went on the cruise and things like that. So I'm hoping maybe next year we can do something like that, like the cabins for Christmas. I think that's such an experience. But have you it's been a little bit slower here as far as like I think it's just the holidays with like the YouTube and all that other stuff. I just think it's the holidays, the elections just happen and things like that. So I'm hoping to just, we wanted to get we just wanted to get 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We still got time. Spending Thanksgiving with the active duty military this year. Wow, that's amazing, Shiloh. I love that. Steffi said, I live in Tennessee near Gatlinburg. It is beautiful here during Christmas. You'll love it. You see what I mean? We need to do that. I'm gonna plan for that. All right, well, let me go have dinner with the kids. I hope you guys have an amazing week. You guys know where to reach me if you need anything. And next Sunday, we'll be here on live. Make sure you, this week's videos, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to post the Sunshine State Living video in just a little bit as well. Love you guys. Have a good week.